tough hike over 47 kilometers of rugged fynbos-covered mountainside, Merrill made a shrewd route choice early on and managed to pass Accelerate. They then hung low on the mountainside while their competitive Cyanosis opted to bunderbash higher up. Another good choice, because after the next checkpoint, Merrill had passed Cyanosis and retaken the race lead. In a matter of hours, Graham Bird had made amends for his earlier mistake and put his team back in front of Expedition Africa, illustrating the immense value of having a top navigator in the team. And they also have rich experience, and when things go wrong, as they did on the bike leg, they put aside all emotion and put in place a calm plan to reclaim the lead.
I think our strong point in our team is one, the experience, and number two is our dynamic. The four of us get on extremely well. We're all very good mates. We all enjoy being with one another. We all know one another's individual strengths and weaknesses as a team. We all know one another's good habits, bad habits, and how we all respond under different pressure situations. So that for us is a very, very strong factor for our team. You know, being able to know what's actually going on with the other person before they actually even say it. In terms of weaknesses, I'm not sure. You know, at this point, hopefully we've managed to iron out a lot of our weaknesses, and you know, we can just go out there and race with a positive attitude. And our main goal is obviously to do well and to have fun and stay friends and enjoy it and laugh a lot. That's what we always try and do as well.
A good perspective on team dynamics. Team Merrill Adventure Addicts are heading to Tasmania later this year to take on 90 other teams in the World Championships over 700 kilometres. They've unfinished business at the Worlds and have been frozen out, literally, in Scotland 4 years ago. No chance of freezing on Expedition Africa. Conditions were as close to perfect as you could wish, as Merrill steadily built on their lead over Cyanosis and Accelerate. The transition was close now, spirits high, and they were through the gates at Belofte just over 31 hours after setting off from Hermanus. They were at the midway camp where a mandatory 5-hour stop was welcomed by all the competitors. This leg had truly been defining for Merrill Adventure Addicts. Almost an hour behind them, Cyanosis were treading a solitary path to the camp. It was just after 2:45 in the afternoon. The stopover could not come at a better time for Nicholas Mulder, Clint McIntosh, Nathan Thompson and Jane Swadebrek.
The rest is, you know, it's a little bit tricky. 5 hours is a long time. It means we only get out here about 9 o'clock tonight, so we could do with a shorter break, but you know, everybody gets 5 hours, so we'll work on the 5 hours. We've got a lot to do here. Clean bikes, do a little bit of admin, do the maps, and we're good to go again.
He forgot to mention sleep. Team Penny Pinchers AR, James Stewart, Garth Pinker, Jeff Wilcox and Bubbles Walder were toiling up a hill near the village of Napier, some 25 k's from the midway camp. And they were not alone out there, with 6th place bikesandwines.com also taking it slowly behind them.
Yeah, it's taking a while to get going, hey? We took a little detour, went to Napier, got some nice fresh pies, got some proper food, some proper fruit. So we still got most of the hike waiting for us. And it's getting on in the day, so I hope we're not in the dark for too long navigating those paths. And also the clouds are coming in, so let's hope it's a dry night.
Yes, about those perfect weather conditions. Mindful of the possibility of being caught in the dark and the rain, Team Accelerate pushed hard over the last section of the trek. They'd had a good day and despite slipping back to 3rd, were well pleased with their efforts.
Yeah, we passed Merrill. They went wrong and we rode with Cyanosis for a while. We had a really good ride, so the two teams together. And then we decided to take a different route on the beach, and they took another route which was quicker. So then they got back before us, and we also had just fuddled around for a bit, trying to get the right route out. We saw them when we got back. They were leaving as we got into transition for a run, and we were just before Merrill as well on the run. And then from the run onwards, we've learnt that South African bushes are a little bit prickly and not normally advisable to go straight through, because we had spent a lot of time bushwhacking and going up and down sort of 160-metre ravines and thinking, what on earth are we doing here? But it's been a brilliant day, hard day, very hard and very long.
And it wasn't over just yet. Preparations for the sixth leg had to be completed before thoughts could turn to rest. Next into the midway camp just before 9 p.m. on Tuesday night at Belofte was Team Jabberwock, an old teammate of Graham Bird's, Kobus van Sail, with Ryan Hordian, Garen and Jenny Suter.
Started out thinking it was going to be probably an 8-hour hike, and now I think we've been out for 12 hours, so a lot longer than we expected. There are quite a few route choices, and we went over the top of the mountain and we saw a lot of teams coming in a different way. And we actually thought we had lost a lot of places, so but yeah, we got here, found out we still hold our position and opened up a gap, so yeah, actually happy with our 12 hours, even though it was 4 hours longer than we thought.
Team Castle Light, under the guidance of Adrian Safi, were next in at 10:17. They'd tried to steal a march on Bikes and Wines and Jabberwock when they were sleeping at the Crosshook transition, but their plans are foiled by the noisy arrival of penny pinchers. It was an emotional time for the quartet.
Last two knockers, let's go,
Our strength is that we will never give up. You'll have to pull us off the course to get us off the course, and that we are very committed to finish this race. Our weakness is that we haven't done a lot of racing in the past 2 years, so this is our first time together as a team since the previous expedition race that happened here in South Africa about 2 years ago. So it's a joining of old forces.
And they've clearly lost none of their enthusiasm. Attorney Adrian Safi, engineer Dion Dupree, electrical engineer Craig Powell, and accountant Ina Dupree. After 5 legs, the standings had Team Merrill 64 minutes ahead of Cyanosis. Accelerate, after a sluggish start, was solid in third. What lay ahead on legs 6 and 7 were a 105-kilometre bike ride to Uitvlug Farm near Greyton and Carnarvondale before transition, and a 23-kilometre hike with rope work, which then took them to Theewaterskloof Dam. Uncharted and penny pinchers were trailing Bikes and Wines, whilst Adrian Safi's Castle Light crew were chasing Jabberwock. And Merrill were in front of Cyanosis and Accelerate, with all 3 of the leaders already on the hike leg. After 10 minutes sleep, Merrill were in the kloofing section. Tatum donning the harnesses. Guide Phillip helping them down. Accelerate were all smiles, despite seemingly losing a little time to Cyanosis at this point. Dawn was approaching, which always lifts the spirits of team members when they know the coldest and darkest parts are behind them. And they could negotiate the kloof in the soft glow of the morning light. They were pushing hard. While the 3 leading teams were nearing leg 8 back at Belofte, Team Energy were emerging from a well-earned rest at the midway camp.
You'll have to excuse me continuing because we're in a bit of a hurry. Jeez, after 50 hours on the trail, no break, 2 hours of sleep is just like a heaven-sent moment. It's beautiful. How do you describe a hike like that? Just rename Fynbos into Pynbos. And we met the devil on top of the mountain. He wanted us to stay there a bit longer than we had anticipated.
Recharged and revitalized, Trevor, Eugene Nell, Mark Loftus and Kathy Bova headed away from the seductive campsite for the 105k mountain bike leg. This was a delight, with undulating farm and district roads as they skirted Napier, Greyton and Caledon in once again fantastic weather. The 8th leg was the second paddle section. The teams entered the water on the Verliesdorp side of the dam and could choose to paddle either clockwise or anti-clockwise before returning 24 k's later to the same transition area. This is a real strength for Merrill Adventure Addicts. Forrester from Sedgefield, Hannu Smit, and a man 5 years his junior, 37-year-old Donovan Sims, were keeping a good rhythm in the boat. Tweet Bird and the Hobbit Prince were churning out the strokes in the second. The boats are the only piece of equipment the race organisers' Kinetic Gear provide for the teams. Having completed their kayak leg, they spent 40 minutes changing kit and preparing for leg 9, a 70k bike ride, just making sure they'd signed out their Tweet. All good. Back on the water, Team Cyanosis were just beginning their kayak leg. Their deficit to Merrill was close on 2.5 hours at this stage. Nicholas Mulder chose to paddle clockwise around the huge dam that provides much of the urban water for Stellenbosch and parts of Cape Town via a tunnel through the mountains. The water was thankfully flat and there was little wind to speak of. Just as well, because the fatigue from 2 days and nights of constant racing was clearly etched on their faces. Back at Transition 7, Accelerate were arriving after their close on 6.5 hour hike and abseil. They were almost 3 hours behind second place Cyanosis, but such is the unpredictable nature of adventure racing that they could not at any stage take it easy, despite having just under 7 hours on fourth place Jabberwock. At this stage of the race, with just 3 stages left, it was all about staying fit and staying healthy to complete it. The 9th leg was a 70-kilometre ride from Theewaterskloof back towards Hermanus. They would stop at Hamilton Russell Vineyard for a short orienteering leg before continuing through to the finish at Onrus. With the smell of the sea in their nostrils and the possibility of securing a win in Expedition Africa 2011, Merrill Adventure Addicts were in a good space, albeit a little on the fatigue side, as they closed in on Hamilton Russell Vineyard. Totally focused professional outfit. Some way back up the road, Cyanosis were off the water and onto their bikes. Nicholas Mulder is one of the country's foremost adventure racers, having started in 2002. He has national colours at orienteering, so he is naturally the navigator. With a background as a cyclist, Clint McIntosh is a really strong rider and great in rope work. The solitary lady, Jane Swabrek, is a superb all-rounder and a top-class triathlete, having won her age group at Ironman 70.3 last year. Nicholas constantly plotting and planning the way forward. The third day at the Expedition Africa was drawing to a close. Merrill were now smelling the finish line, having completed their orienteering leg in under 2 hours. They had been outstanding, coming to the race well prepared. They were among the favourites, only to make a navigational error and slip back to third place on the bike. Shrewd map reading, though, saw them slip past Cyanosis and Accelerate in the next trek and retake the lead, which they never again looked like losing. They crossed the line at 6 minutes to 8 on Wednesday night. Donovan Sims, Taton Prince, Hannu Smit and Captain Graham Bird were truly exhausted but mighty pleased with their efforts.
Expedition Africa was one of those races that was on our goals, and yeah, it's nice to be able to do an expedition length 500-kilometre race in this country and be able to perform so well and put the experience that we've learned sort of overseas into to good use. And the team was fantastic. All four guys were, you know, we had a super race. We made one big navigational error on the first night and we managed to recover from that and came through strong in the end.
Back on the course, Accelerate, easy to spot with the Union Jack on the back of Caroline Bullard's bag, was seeking out the 6 checkpoints on Hamilton Russell Farm as they negotiated the orienteering course. They were safely in third and had worked well together throughout the expedition. They displayed great composure and calmness throughout. Up ahead at the finish, exactly 3 hours after Merrill Adventure Addicts had crossed the line, Team Cyanosis were home in second place. They'd held the lead briefly, but a wonderful, wonderful performance. Nicholas Mulder, Clinton McIntosh, Jane Swabrek and Nathan Thompson proving once again that Team Cyanosis remains one of the most formidable adventure racing units in the country.
The spirit in the team is fantastic. I'm sure everybody said that, but I mean, especially in our team. I had 1 or 2 niggles after the first 14 Ks of the race. So the rest of the team pulled together, and here we are in second place 500 Ks later.
And indulging in a well-deserved pizza or two. The last leg of Tar Road was a sign for Team Accelerate that they too were nearing home. The thought of rest without end was driving them to push hard over the last few Ks. And they'd had their troubles. Andy Mitchell was unable to use his right leg due to an injury sustained on the 6th stage. It was 10-2 on Thursday morning. Dave Spence, Andy Mitchell, Kim Collinson and Caroline Bullard rolled across the finish line at Onra's campsite, 3rd place in Expedition Africa.
It was very good, really good fun, really tough, particularly some of the vegetation. We've learnt a fair few things, like not cutting through 180 metre gorges on the way to the control. But no, it's been great, and all the guys here from the African teams have been really welcoming, so we've had a fantastic week.
All the South Africans have been so hospitable. Heidi and Stefan have been fantastic to us. Anything we've wanted or anything we're not sure about, they've managed to fix. And at every transition, one of them's been there saying, "Are you all right?" throughout the course. So, I mean, in all, it's been the most amazing experience to come up here and to do it. And yeah, 500 kilometres. It's a drop in the ocean. Anyone can do it, they put their mind to it, and it's amazing what you can achieve when you want to achieve something.
The remaining teams are stretched out along the second half of the course, with 4th place Jabberwock on the orienteering leg. Castle Light and Bikes and Wines were on leg 9, whilst Penny Pinchers were kayaking around Tiavadas Kloof.